It was great to be out there on the grass, and appreciate our players' attitudes. They've worked hard the last 9-10 weeks to come in good shape, and we exceeded my expectation as far as our conditioning. I think guys have done a good job there. For a first day, we're rough, and that's kind of where I thought we'd be. But overall some good signs. So I'll go ahead and open up to questions.
Craig, what were some of the maybe initial signs? You mentioned the conditioning, but other signs that just, that kind of maybe surprised you, or maybe?
Well, what I typically at the beginning, when you're installing a new offense and new defense, and you got a lot of moving parts, it's about what I thought as far as, some of our alignments and assignments. Our attention to detail, the guys were locked in all through practice, and so that was an encouraging thing. Now, it's going to be important that we make significant improvement from the first practice to the second practice, and then the other thing that goes along with it, just our tempo and changing how we're practicing, and so for our players to get acclimated to the coaches and the new culture as far as our practice routines, and then also for our coaches to get used to our players. And so about what I thought, I thought, quite frankly, I thought our functioning as far as our systems and their alignments, things like that, were a little bit further along than what I really had anticipated. We're installing a completely new offense, and you got quarterbacks operating under center and things like that, but looked a little bit better than what I thought.
Coach, you mentioned, good to be out there, obviously. When you have a new team, and it's, months of kind of wondering what you're going to see, how good did it feel, and how much were you anticipating finally seeing the team together out there?
Well, I had a difficult time sleeping last night, because you see your guys move around during the conditioning drills, but then taking another step forward to actually start to look at 11 on 11, and when it starts to look like football, obviously we don't have pads on, but that was a good start. But for me, after 11 years at one school, then you kind of have a track history, knowing who the guys are, and then coming out on the field, and then you're looking down on the roster and finding out, okay, who number 21 is or who 55 is, and different guys like that, just to see how they move around is good.
Any early observation of individuals that maybe kind of stood out or caught your eye?
Yeah, I can appreciate the question, but any I guess assessment on my part would be a little bit premature. I think in a couple days I'll be able to give you a little bit, a better response to that.
Coach, when you talk about, installing these new systems, what's the process like? Do you just kind of steadily install more and more throughout this spring camp, or kind of what's your strategy there?
Well, we're going to try to force feed them a little bit, but I think it's important for our guys to really understand what they're doing, for them to be able to go out. We're going to ask them to play at a really high level and a fast pace. Well, you can't do that until you know what you're doing, and so there'll be a methodical approach that we make installations on our offense and defense and our kicking game, and we're in the elementary stage, but still, I think if you just look down the playlist today, offensively and defense, there's quite a bit of offense and defense. I know, a couple times I saw some of the players, there's smoke coming out of their ears. They're getting lined up and thinking, okay. And what happens is if a player has to think as opposed to just doing, and he's not prepared yet. Obviously, it's our first day, but there's a lot of thinking going on.
Coach, you got a new staff, but I know Coach Callaghan stayed aboard, and what has he meant to you and the new staff coming in with his experience and moving over from the offensive side to the defensive side? How has he done with that, at least to this point?
Well, it's somewhat of a transition for him. He's been an offensive coach for a lot of years, and then to flip over, I think he spent 1 year coaching defense, and appreciate his attitude in embracing that. What you look for, core values of people. One, are they a good person? Two, are they intelligent? Three, can they communicate? And then the fourth thing is a positional skill set that they have. He'll grow into coaching the defensive tackles, but he has meant the world to me as far as just coming in the transition of, okay, how our players are, the culture of Wyoming football, and the lay of the land of our state. And I appreciate his attitude too. He's meshed in with our new coaches. We have brought in coaches from different parts of the country, whether it's Fresno State or Miami, Ohio, and then along with that, the guys that are from NDSU. The great thing is this is our new Cowboy staff.
Coach, talk just a little bit about the relationships that you've witnessed these guys having with one another, and the importance of these guys trusting each other and having so many stars that are coming back, and that trust that they have with each other when they're kind of going through this transitional period with you guys.
Well, it's always a new test. They didn't choose us; we chose them as coaches, and so these guys were not recruited by our staff members, with the exception of Coach Gagliardi, and so. I'm sure they're looking and saying, okay, can we really trust these coaches? And that comes with time. That comes about being really consistent, getting to know our players. And, that's the X factor that really allows you to win championships, because everybody's physical ability is somewhat in the same ballpark. It's those teams that really are able to come together and be very cohesive. And that comes about through a lot of work and a lot of activities, and then a lot of trust. And so that'll be a process that we're in a work in progress there. I think it's really important for our players to trust their position coach, and then trust the other coaches that are on the staff, and then finally really begin to understand and trust the head football coach as far as what are our really core values that we have here.